up, people? So we're back with another video. Hope you all been staying safe and staying free and having a good weekend, enjoying that content. Now, this one that I'm bringing to you all today is all about sharing cells inside a prison. So let's get into it. So after you get into the intake and you land at the desk of the wing that you'll be going into, where the screws will sit on their arse, the screws will be the people to decide on who you'll be sharing a cell with and what cell you'll be going into. Now, if you ask me, the screws do have a very good judgment of character, as if they're not amateurs, they pair people up on a daily basis and they match people up very good. Now, when I was in my second prison, they asked me, if I took drugs, and I managed to get into a cell with someone that didn't take drugs. And the first thing that we both said to each other after we greeted each other was, do you smoke that spice, the paper shit? And we both said no. And my cellie said he tried it once and it wasn't for him, and he didn't take drugs like that anyway. It was a case of, it was a one-time thing. Now, if you get put inside of a cell with someone that takes drugs, it will be a nightmare for you inside a prison, no matter who you are, and it's just going to lead to a load of problems to where you end up beating your cellmate. And there's a lot of reasons to why people end up fighting with their cellmate. And in certain prisons, depending what prison you end up in the United Kingdom, you can be doing a 3-man to 1 cell. So normally it is a 2-man cell, but certain prisons can be up to 3 people, and you could just imagine 3 people being in a small confined space. It's a lot to take. Now, when it comes to going onto the wing, when they walk you to your cell and you go in for the first time, if you haven't been to prison before, and even if you have, you're still meeting someone new that you don't know, that you'll be sleeping, shitting, coughing, farting, all in that small confined space that you'll be sharing with them. And inside a prison, this is why I've been thankful to the cellmates that I've had, as we had a mutual line of respect for each other, to a point of where, if you don't have respect for your cellie, when you're wanting to watch something or you're watching something, your cellie wants to watch something, or they want to turn the light off and you don't, this is where a lot of problems can happen. And it's about being on a civil thing inside the prison, and only real ones recognize this, as only in my second prison I had to share with my cellie, which was the second time from my first prison. As when I went into my first prison, I was in the cell for about 4 days until I managed to get a single cell. Now, inside a prison, yes, you do get single cells, but a lot of prisons inside of the United Kingdom are overcrowded, so you will have to share at the very beginning of your sentence. And in order to get a single cell, you have to put your name down. And fortunate enough, when I put my name down, as soon as when I came in and touched that desk, I only had to wait 3-4 days and I got right into a cell, because the screws liked me. Now, on top of it too, everyone was, amazed to see how quick I got my own cell. And like I said, depending on what prison you're in, not everyone's blessed to have their own cell unless you're a lifer. Now, when it comes to sharing a cell with someone, me and my cellie done an agreement to where, yeah, if we needed to bust a shit inside of the cell, then yeah, bust a shit during bang up time. But what we used to do was, when it came to rec time, I would go out the cell, he would go out the cell if he was needing a shit, and you could take a shit in a bit of privacy. As when it comes to taking a shit inside of a cell with someone, and the windows only open up 2 inches, if that, and you have to get a little bit of fabric freshener to put inside a spray bottle to spray it down, it's not a nice thing. And it's the embarrassment as well, because you can't see someone that's taking a shit or piss inside of your cell, as it's all covered up depending what prison you're in. But you're still having to take a shit and you're hearing a man taking a dump and the dump touching the water. It's embarrassing for certain man. Now, if you don't have no form of respect by your cellmate, you will have nothing but problems inside a prison. As when you're sleeping, you don't know what your cellie's doing above you or underneath you, and they could do something like touch themselves while you're sleeping if they don't rate you like that. Now, you have to make sure that you have that line of respect with a cellmate, or you will find it very difficult. And there's no getting out of sharing a cell with someone. Yes, when you go into prison, you can tell them at the intake you have mental health and this and that and the so forth, but you still have to wait for a single cell to come up available. There's not just single cells sitting there and just waiting for people that need them. You have to wait for a man to get transferred, or for a man to move cells, or whatever the case was. Like in my first prison, the guy that I got on with, the older boy, he was moving 3 cells down, and there was a guy that was getting shipped out, and I managed to get the guy's cell that was moving a couple doors down. Now, when it comes to, living with crackheads inside a prison and people you don't know, just think about it. You're locked up inside of your cell, having to go sleep when you don't know someone, and you've maybe only known them for less than 24 hours, and that same night you have to go sleep. You have to, trust them to a point. When you're sleeping, are they gonna end up trying to fuck man up when I'm sleeping? Are they gonna take a knife and try and stab me when I'm sleeping? This is stuff that you really do have to be aware of. And a lot of people don't understand the screws will be the main people to actually decide where you go. Now, inside the second prison was the only prison that I seen this, where people was jumping cell. We called it cell jumping, as if you wanted to go in a cell with someone that you got on with more time, if you had respect, you would tell a man, yo, we're swapping cells. Not that you're taking their whole cell, it's just that you're going in a cell with someone that you're locked, you're used to, and you're getting locked up with. And you just go down to the desk and just tell the screws, yo, I'm swapping cells. And more time, the screws were coming in and they're opening up people's doors, going, hold on a second, you're on that cell only just that day. So you can jump cells inside a prison, but if you're not rated like that, the screws will tell you you have to go back to that cell that you was in. And that's true life talks. So I hope you all have enjoyed the video. Do drop a comment on your thoughts if you have any of your stories. Do stay safe, people, and stay free.